Okay, so, it's working. Uh, we are Jenny, this beautiful lady, and Stefan Băcioiu. We are glad to be here. It was a long trip, and we are a little bit tired, but
We
okay.
came from Georgia.
Yeah. We already have our picture there with our adopted son, and in that small picture was another adopted son, but now he's not in this world with us. So I want to pray at the beginning, because all the good things start and ends with prayer, and I will pray in Romania, if you are okay with that. Okay. Tată bun din ceruri, vin înaintea ta în această seară să te laud și să-ți mulțumesc că suntem în casa ta. Te rog, Tată, să lași binecuvântarea ta peste noi și să binecuvântezi pe fiecare din această biserică. Doamne, Tu știi problemele noastre, știi bucuriile noastre și îți mulțumim pentru toate. Te rog în această seară să ne vorbești și să fii prezent aici cu noi. Îți mulțumim pentru toate. În numele Domnului m-a rugat. Amin.
Amen.
So, I will tell my story, and she will tell her story, because we just met 1 year ago. We are married from 1
We
year.
just got married 1 year ago.
Yeah.
We met before then.
Okay. But I want to tell you from the beginning, everything we say and everything we do here in this night, it's not about us. Everything it's about Jesus and what Jesus is doing in our lives and what Jesus is doing in Romania, and we are glad we are a part of this work in Romania. So that is Romania, the purple, or
It's circled.
okay. In that white circle is Romania. It's near Ukraine. We have two borders with Ukraine. It's on the shore of Black Sea. And it's a part of Europe. I am from there. I was raised and born there. You have two pictures from Romania because it's a contrast in Romania. The picture on the left is from the city, and the picture on the right is from the village. So it's a big contrast. Cities are nice and organized with everything, but some of the cities, some of the villages, sorry. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Some of the villages are like that.
My job is to correct his English.
Yes. Thank you for that. Okay. So, also the contrast. We have very expensive cars in Romania. I think most expensive cars in the world, some of them are in Romania. And we have, in the other part, the cheapest one, or how to say that, with engine with a horse. Okay. These are
Main religion.
the main religion in Romania. It's Orthodox. So this is a picture from one of the Orthodox church in Romania. They have in the church a lot of pictures, and everything you see in that picture with yellow is gold. They like to plate everything with gold. I don't know what they think that is important. And they like to kiss some pictures with some saints or something. They think that it's a good thing. They bring, I don't know what.
If they need like help, they'll go to a certain saint. Or if they need money, or they'll pray to that saint to provide what they need.
Yep, you're right. The sermon in the Orthodox Church is sung. It's not reading from the Bible. It's just something sung. Practically, you don't understand anything. I didn't understand anything because I was there to see what happened, and just a long thing.
They're also encouraged not to read the Bible, that only the priest can understand it.
They need to listen to the priest, and they are with the tradition. Main thing in the Orthodox religion is tradition. To do things, to make things, to go to heaven or something like that. Okay.
And now I'll tell my part of the story. I've been in Romania for 11 years now, and before him. I'm from Georgia, and I was in Romania, and I was mainly involved in village ministries in 2 Roma villages, gypsy villages. They're very poor, low-income kids. And I did children's ministries there. We would do a kids club every week, and we would take them places like special places, because most of them had never left their village ever. So we'd take them into the city to the parks or McDonald's, or one time we took them to the beach. And then every summer, if they came to our kids program all week, we'd take them to camp, which was the highlight of the year. And we would take some of the parents with us that came to church as well, and all of them had never left their village, even the grown-ups. I was also involved in orphan ministry. I worked in a state-run orphanage for about 6 years. And it was there that God really burdened my heart to do more. Instead of just going into the orphanage a couple times a week, I would take them to special activities. I'd go in there 3 times a week with some volunteers, and we'd do activities with them. I'd bring some of the kids home with me on the weekends. I'd take them to church on Sunday. But as they got older, I never saw I think it's you. I never saw a change in their lives. I know seeds were planted, but I really began for God to give me an opportunity to do more. And so he laid on my heart to do foster care, to bring some of the kids home with me. I had 5 boys I wanted to bring home, which God said, whoa, that's too much. In Romania, parents have to sign. Most orphans in Romania aren't orphans. Let me clarify that. Almost all of them have families. They're just too poor to take care of them, or they don't want to take care of them. So the boys, 2 brothers, didn't want their parents to sign away their rights. They still went home during the summers, and they didn't want to lose that time with their family, so they opted out. One, his parents wouldn't sign, but he has a disability, so he'll be cared for his whole life. One went home and asked his parents, sign these papers, please, because this lady wants to take me, and I really think it's good for me. And she said, I'll do it if she pays me 200 euros. He said, she can't pay you. Just do it because you love me, and this is what's best for me. And she said, okay, I'll take 150. And he said, that's all I'm worth to use 150 euros? And she said, well, okay, I'll take 100. So she wouldn't sign, so I couldn't take him. And he ran away, and I still to this day don't know what happened to him. But I was able to take the little guy right there. His name's Gilbert. He was 11 at the time when I took him. His mom passed away, so he was actually an orphan, and his dad was non-existent. And I brought him home. He's 11. He's 17 now. We finally finished his adoption when he was 16, so in 2021. He's 17 now. He's not here with me right now because he's at the beach with his friends, and he's 17. But it's been amazing for me to see how God's worked in his life through a family. He's a completely different child than he ever was. Even his facial features have changed because God changes lives when there's love. And when you're unconditionally wanted, children change. And so that's the desire God put in my heart. In 2019, I found out about actually 2018. I found out about another little boy. He needed a liver transplant. His name was Ezekiel. I was unsure about taking him because I already had one. I'm a single lady doing missionary work. 2 seemed like a lot, but God just put it on my heart to take him as well. He could not get his liver transplant without a family. 200 families had been asked to take him, and no one would take him. So after praying about it for several months, I decided God wanted me to take him, and I started the process in September of 2018. The director of children's services in the city he lived in said, I'm not doing the paperwork for that kid, he's just going to die. So I had to fight with the system, and in January of 2019, I brought him home. When I first got him, he could barely walk, he couldn't talk, and he was almost 3. But by the end of a year, he could speak 2 languages, Romanian and English, and he was running around like a normal, almost 4-year-old. But in February of 2020, we had tickets to come home to America for him to get a liver transplant evaluation in Atlanta. A week before we were scheduled to leave, he entered the hospital with an intestinal blockage. He had had a previous surgery when he was 6 months old, and that surgery had caused some scar tissue that turned his intestines into a ball. He had a 9-hour surgery, and then in the next 2 weeks, he had 7 more surgeries, but his little liver couldn't make it, and in March, he passed away. It was a very difficult time for me because I couldn't understand why God would give me this sweet little boy to save him and then take him away from me. So I really questioned, was God good? Where is his goodness? How could a good God do this? Even though I was a missionary for years, I just couldn't understand why. But God worked during the pandemic. The pandemic was actually a blessing for me because Romania shut down. We couldn't do any ministry. So for 3 months, I was able to just sit and wrestle with the Lord. He really stressed in my heart, am I only good when your circumstances are the way you want? Or does my character change because your circumstances change? Or am I good because I'm God? Am I good because that's my being? That's who I am. And I really learned that God's goodness doesn't change. My circumstances don't change his goodness. He is my rock, and he is my salvation, and he is all I need, despite my circumstances. And now...
It's my turn.
Oh, you have a mic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need a clicker.
Okay, so I was born in a Christian family in Constanța. I was born in a smuggler's family, Bible smugglers, not bad smugglers. On the communist time, people mostly from America, they came in Romania and bring Bibles because you cannot have a Bible then. You cannot have a Bible then. So it was very hard to have a Bible, and if police or the communists get you with the Bible, it was bad for everybody. So they bring Bibles in the night at our home, and my parents smuggle them from the car in our basement, hide them under potatoes and pickles and other things, because the police will be there to search. And one day they came in our house, the police, and looking for the Bibles. So some of the Bibles were behind the door. This word is. And they looked everywhere in the house. They searched everywhere, but they didn't look there. So for me, they were in easy place to find. So it was interesting because then I didn't understand what happened. Now I understand, and I know it was God's hand. They didn't see the Bibles. And another small story. In front of our house, it's a public street light. And 10 minutes before the truck came to our house with Bibles, that light was off. We didn't have a switch or something. Nobody from the area. So after they unload the Bibles and they hide them in the basement or in any other place, after they left, 10 or 15 minutes, the light was on. So again, then I didn't understand that, but now I understand it was God's hand. And after 10 more minutes or 15 minutes, the police were on our street looking for a car, looking for a truck. And nothing. We don't know the names. Even today, we don't know the names because they didn't spoke with us or speak with us. If the police came in our house and asked about names, we cannot lie because we don't know the names. So it was easy to say. I was in the church going to Sunday school until 16, 17. After that, Satan took my mind and I was in the world and doing a lot of bad things. I was a truck driver for 19 years, and when I started to have money, I said, God, stay there. I'm okay. I have money. I thought I have money and I have everything, but it wasn't me. So for 17, 18 years, I was in the world doing a lot of bad things, and I worked in London for 2 times. And my first time, I go to London to work, to earn money, and to spend it to clubs, to bad things, to come to Romania and buy an expensive car and to act like I'm important because I work in London and I have money and I have everything. So after a month and a half working in London on windows and doors factory, on just a little bit of money, it was less than the cea mai mic salariu pe lună. Cum e?
Minimum salary.
Less than minimum salary per month in that country. So God gave me enough to survive, to have everything, and enough to humble me, to see you are not there to make money. You are there to understand something. And after 1 month and a half, I was speaking with my mother on the phone, and she said, go to church, find a church, you need God. So I said, I'm not here for God, I'm here to make money. That emptiness that only God can fill, it was bigger and bigger. We go to clubs and to barbecues and I came back home and it was nothing. It was empty. All the guys said, oh, it was so nice. So I said, no. So I remember I had a friend in London, a childhood friend. I sent him a text and I asked him what he's doing on Sunday. And like a good Christian, he goes to church. And I said, I want to go with you. I want to go with you. So he said, okay, it's perfect because a very good friend of our family, a pastor from Romania, it was coming to London. Yeah, it was coming to London to preach in 3 churches. 2 was gypsy churches that I liked in Romania. So it was perfect. Our friend Jan Ghiforeanu is here. We can meet together and go to church. So he was at the airport. He couldn't came to take me, and he sent a friend of his to take me, and he drove 1 hour and a half past all London, take me, and drove another 1 hour and a half to meet with the rest of the team, the church. And for me it was, what? Why is this guy doing this? I wanted to give him money for the gas. And he said, no, you don't need to give me anything. So it was interesting and nice. It was like a very good friend. But I just met him then. So it was so interesting for me. So in that day it was 3 beautiful churches and 3 sermons that pastor preached in 3 sermons all of my life. So it was for me, how could he know everything? How could he? Even my mom doesn't know and these things about me. Just a few small. So it was so interesting. At the end of the day, at 11 or something, I asked him, how do you know so many things about me? He said, what? You just spoke in these 3 sermons about all of my life with details. So he said, no, I don't know what you're talking about. So it wasn't me. He said it wasn't me. So then I understood it wasn't him. It was God speaking to me. And we finally, should be another picture here. That team with 2, 4, 6 people. In the picture, not first one in the left, the second one. It was the team from that day, from that night. I go home, that was in London. I was in a room with 2 other guys. It was a small room. And I go back to my old things. So I go outside and try to do the old things that I do, and nothing works. Nothing was pleasing me. It was so weird for me. So I was thinking about God, and everything changed in my life in that night. So I prayed to God and I said, God, from now on, I will leave everything behind, and I want to follow you. So with that friend from England, the friend from childhood, we made a team and a small foundation or association, and we worked in London, Romania, and Moldova with people in need, with people with disability, and it was the best time of my life. So we were in Moldova. It's a country near Romania, a small country, a poor country, and we were to visit and to help an orphanage with 204 boys, orphans with disability, and 107, I think, they are on the bed. They can move, they can go to do anything else. So I looked at them and I asked myself, why I'm not there with them? Why I am with everything and they are in a bed or in an orphanage? So then I understood how blessed I am. And I love that orphanage. It's my special place. When I go there, it's my special place. There's a lot of good kids, special kids. So then God gave me, and wake up. I need you. I need you to do this. Look, you are blessed. You have everything. I need you to work with me. So that was the best part of my life. 35 years of my life, I can tell you about them in 1 or maybe 2 hours if you want to know much. But the last, from 2017, the last 5 years, I think we need 1 week to speak about it. God made a lot of things in my life, and one of the biggest blessings is my wife, because I was 39. And I said to God, God, I give up. I'm not looking for a wife anymore. If you have something for me, please bring it to me, because I'm not looking anymore. So I want just 2 things: to love you and to be a missionary. This is all I ask. So the perfect
Surprise.
present and blessing, it's here, near me.
Oh, I'll tell this part because
Her English is better than mine, so
he needs a little English break. We met in the fall of 2020, and I was a little skeptical because, he's old. And I didn't really need a husband, but a friend of his was trying to matchmake, so I was like, well, I'll talk to him. And he sent me a message on Facebook, and we have a common friend in common, so I messaged her and went, what do you know about this guy? And she was like, oh, he's my cousin. You can talk to him. And then he did the same thing, and so we started talking. I did lots of ministry activities with him, and in March of 2021, we were engaged because I knew God made him for me, and he knew the same, right?
The stories are almost the same, because that guy, that pastor, is both of our friends, and what he did with her, he did with me. He told me about her. Look, an American missionary in Romania. It's almost your age. Don't you want to meet her? So I said, maybe.
One of the selling points was he knew I had an adopted son, which he was okay with, and he wants to adopt more. So that was pluses, because most Romanian men are not like that. And he does housework. Also a plus. We got married in May of 2021, and we had to have 2 weddings. In Romania, you have to have 2 weddings. So you have to have a legal wedding at the courthouse, and then we had our actual wedding. And do you want to talk? You want me to?
We are going back to Romania after we finish with my citizenship, and I hope we will finish with our boy papers, because his story is a little bit weird, because in Romania he is adopted. He's our son. But here, because he was adopted at age of 16, they said that adoption is not okay here. So here it's nobody's son.
So we're having immigration issues. Did I kill it?
No.
Oh, no. Okay.
We have a big immigration issue because from the embassy they said to us, leave him here, leave him in Romania. We don't have any solution for you. So he is here with us on a tourist visa, and we tried a lot of ways to make him legal. We spoke with a lot of lawyers, and all of them said,
So I just picked the visa and went with it, and we sent the papers in. So if you would like to join us in prayer that those papers will get passed, humanly speaking, they will not accept it. But we know God can perform miracles, and we've done everything within our human power. So it's time to let God do His thing.
yeah. So we will go back to Constanța, Dobroja, where you see that arrow. It's my area where I was born and raised. It's a hard area of Romania because of the peoples there. There are a lot of kind of peoples. There are Turkish, Macedonian, gypsies, a lot of gypsies, and a lot of other
Kinds of people.
And it's not easy to work with them. And because of the Black Sea, everybody who come there is to party and to go to the beach, and they don't want to listen and find God. So most of the people that come to work in Romania or Romanian missionary, they don't want to come in that area because it's a very hard area to work with people there. And we want to go back there in that area because I was born and raised there. I know how everything works there, and we want to team up with these two pastors. The one next to me, close to me, it's the one that
hooked us up.
and he's a pastor in a small church in a small village, church with a lot of problems because there was a pastor in the past and he did some weird and bad things there and he ran away. And now that church is struggling to work, to grow, and they need help. And we want to help him, and the other guy is Sandu. It's another pastor. Him and his wife, they were missionaries in Ukraine for 20 years, and now they are back in Romania to help with this other church in a small city, also with problems because of somebody who was there and did almost the same thing in the other church. And they need help to rebuild these churches. And we want to team up with them to help them to be a strong team and to help them to rebuild these two churches. And I think maybe 1 year after we come back, we want to plant another church in another small village in 25 kilometers from this small city. We have some people who came from there to our church, but they don't have transportation. It's a poor village. They have just one car. It's one guy with one car, but sometimes he is home, sometimes he's not home. And we need to go there and pick them, bring them to the church and take them back. And I think it's very good for them and for us to plant a church there, to have their church and to be easy for them to come to church. And we will go there every Sunday and help them with church and with preaching and with everything they need. Also, we will work în continuare.
And continue to
work with children. We want to adopt more children. We are thinking for some medical.
Because of the whole situation I went through with Ezekiel, we're going to adopt more medically fragile children. No one in Romania wants to adopt in general, but especially no one wants to adopt children with medical issues. And so most of them are left just to die. But some of them could be easily saved if they had a family. So that's one of our things we'll be doing.
And also the children's ministry that we have done before we came here. In these two, the small city and the small village, there are a lot of children, a lot of children. And they don't have too much things to do there. So they like to come to the church and to sing with us, to learn with us, and we help them at school with homework. Thank you. Yeah, a big help with homework, and some of them, they are in very poor families, and we try to feed them every time and to help them with what they need, with clothes or for the school, with things they need in the school. So we will continue to work with these kids.
And another ministry we're heavily involved in is caring for Romanian missionaries. We have friends who started a group of people who care for Romanian missionaries. There's a surprising number of Romanians who are missionaries in other countries, and most of them are missionaries in closed countries that Americans can't get into, like Russia and the Stan countries, Siberia. And they're not cared for or well supported. So they struggle in many, many ways, and they've had no one to give them guidance, counseling, no one to care for their kids, no one to help pray for them through issues. So my friends came up with this idea to start an organization to do camps and things for them. So in the summer, we'll actually be going back in July to help run two of the missionary camps to care for these missionaries that are coming home on furlough.
And the social outreach that we already spoke about it. And we want to ask you to be partner with us, to let us be your hands and feet in Romania, and to do God's work and help us to work with these kids and these churches.
And if you want to stay connected with us and what we do, we have a prayer sign up in the foyer on our table. We have prayer cards, and we have a Facebook page as well.
So we want to read a passage from the Bible. You will read in English, please, and I will read in Romanian if you want to hear about how it's these two verses in 3 verses in Romanian.
Psalms 96, 2-4. Sing to the Lord, bless his name. Proclaim the good news of his salvation from day to day. Declare his glory among the nations, his wonder among all peoples. For the Lord is great and greatly to be praised.
So in Romanian it's like this. It's Psalmul 96. Cântați Domnului, binecuvântați numele Lui. Vestiți din zi în zi mântuirea Lui. Povestiți printre neamuri slava Lui, printre toate popoarele minunile Lui. Căci Domnul este mare și foarte vrednic de laudă. El este mai de temut decât tot Dumnezeii. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. Enough about us. Thank you for your attention.
On Saturday, we'll be doing a Romanian night here at the church. If you'd like to come, you can tell Shannon. She's keeping the list. Shannon lived with me for 8 months when she was in Romania. We'll be cooking some Romanian food for everyone to enjoy, and then we'll be sharing, not the exact same thing. We're going to add more stuff to it at the night, just what we do. And you can enjoy food. We'll have a question and answer time, so you can come with questions.